My name is Jessica Levin, and I'm the Experiential Learning and Study Abroad Manager at BMCC. Today, I'm going to talk about the Fund for Education Abroad, a scholarship that you can use for study abroad. Before I get into the specifics of the scholarship, I want to do a quick study abroad recap. So as BMCC students, you have a few different options. The first are BMCC summer programs. These are typically 3-credit programs where you travel with a professor and a small group of students for 2 to 4 weeks. You may be required to meet with the class before or after travel, and these courses may be taught in English or the local language. To qualify, you have to have at least a 2.75 GPA, 12 college credits completed. If there's prereqs to the program, you have to have met those. I get a lot of people asking if they're going to graduate in the spring, can they still participate? Yes, if you push your graduation into the summer. I've had a lot of students do this before, and it doesn't affect their fall plans. Very importantly, all majors can apply. And international students can also apply as long as they have the proper documentation to re-enter the United States. In terms of cost, you would be paying for the 3 credits of tuition. If you're eligible for summer financial aid, you could use it for the study abroad course. If you get a tuition waiver, you could also use that for study abroad. And then you have the program fee, which is typically $950 to $1,900 for BMCC students who get the BMCC Association Scholarship. So that $950 to $1,900 is 40% of the overall cost because the Association Scholarship covers 60% of the cost. And I go ahead and factor it into the price because most BMCC students are receiving this scholarship. In order to get it, you have to have completed those 12 college credits specifically at BMCC. So that tends to be the case for a lot of our applicants. It includes your airfare, your housing, your meals, everything you do in the country, your health insurance. Because it's due in April typically, summer financial aid isn't helpful for this. Students have requested additional loans in their spring financial aid package if they need help paying that fee in April. Otherwise, it would be an out-of-pocket cost. And then personal expenses may include a visa if you need one. Not all students need one. That's something we would look into after you're admitted. If you need to get a new passport or if you need to renew your passport, and any extra money for doing additional things in the country once you're there. So you can also study abroad with other CUNY schools as a BMCC student. And this is a good option if we're not going somewhere that you really want to go, or if you want to go somewhere in the fall or the spring semester. These have different eligibility requirements, application deadlines, and cost by program. So you'll need to make sure that you really organize your research. There's a website here where you can start your search, but I also recommend going to the specific study abroad website. So Googling John Jay Study Abroad, for example, because you may find even more detailed information there. Once you find a program, you can let me know and we can check if you could get an e-permit, because that allows you to take a course at another CUNY school and apply it to your degree at BMCC. Financial aid, again, can be used for tuition. You can't use the BMCC Association Scholarship for these programs, but you can use other scholarships, including the Fund for Education Abroad. So these are great to consider. We've had students go to South Korea with Brooklyn College, to Italy with Queens College and College of Staten Island, to Spain with Hunter College, to Indonesia with John Jay, to England with Lehman College. So definitely look into these. Overall, CUNY will hopefully make a decision on summer study abroad no later than March 2021. So we'll have a better idea then of where we're going. But you can still apply for scholarships now, because you can simply explain, this is where I plan to apply, and that should be good for the scholarship. And I'll talk about that in a few slides. So lastly, you can also apply to programs from study abroad organizations. And I specifically like to highlight CIEE because they're a really good organization. They have programs in various countries and in various disciplines. A lot are taught in English. Their programs, when you first look at them, can seem a bit expensive, but they have a lot of summer scholarships. And once those are factored in, the programs become much more affordable. So I'll be sending out a guide on applying to CIE programs to help walk you through that process. Once you have a program that you know you're interested, just let me know, and then we can work on confirming that that program will transfer into BMCC and count towards your degree. So now we're going to do the Fund for Education Abroad. So it's also known as FEA, and the mission, as described on their website, is to provide scholarships and support to students who are underrepresented in study abroad. And they hope to make these life-changing international experiences accessible to underrepresented students, including community college and first-generation students. So if you go on their website, you'll see a bunch of different sources they have for funding for the scholarships, but all you have to do is submit one application to be considered for all of those scholarships. And they give preference to, again, first-generation college students, underrepresented students, and community college students. So I wanted to quickly highlight some past FEA recipients from BMCC. You can see on the top, Man Huang Ho. He was a computer science major, and he used the Fund for Education Abroad money to go on our BMCC summer program in China. And then we had another student, Muhammad Khan, who majored in financial management, and he actually got the scholarship when he transferred to Baruch. So they also, they love when people have transferred from a community college to a four-year. So that's when he was able to get the award. So for the summer, the award would be up to $1,250, and for the semester up to $5,000. And in order to apply, you have to be a US citizen or a permanent resident. You have to be a current undergraduate student at the time that you're going to study abroad. You have to have a FAFSA on file for this academic year. The study abroad program has to be credit bearing. So for the ones I mentioned, CUNY, CIE, BMCC, there shouldn't be a problem there. And the program has to be at least 28 days long. So again, our summer programs aren't confirmed. So I would start looking into CUNY and CIE programs, because they'll give you a better idea of where they may where they may go in the summer. The CIE programs are generally confirmed. CUNY programs aren't either, but if you see that they went somewhere last year, you can assume that they're going to try to go again this year. The application for Fund for Education Abroad is due January 20th at 12 p.m. So at noon, which usually isn't the case for things, right? They're usually due at 11:59. So just keep that in mind and don't submit it late, because they're not flexible with late submissions. And this application round is for study abroad in the summer, fall, and spring of next year. You will need an online application, 2 essays, a letter of recommendation, an unofficial BMCC transcript, and I put a link here, which when I send out the slides, you'll be able to click on this link to see how to download an unofficial copy, so you don't have to pay for anything. And if you've attended a previous college, you would also want to include that transcript. And there's a financial aid form, which I'll also email to you, and you want to do that as quickly as possible. It's pretty simple. You just fill out some basic information on the top, and then the financial aid office at BMCC will fill out the rest. And you would email it toamiddleton@bmcc.cuny.edu. So the letter of recommendation, this can often delay students or catch them off guard when completing their application. So I want you to think about this as soon as possible. Who would be good to recommend you? So first things first, ask early. The letter is due at the same time as the application, January 20th. So if you go to complete your application on January 19th and you put in your recommender's email, then they'll only have 1 day to submit it, and that's not enough time for people. So ask early. The Fund for Education Abroad prefers that you ask a professor or a direct supervisor, but you can also ask an advisor, a coach, or a high school teacher that knows you really well. You cannot ask a friend or a peer or a classmate to write the letter for you. I suggest that when you ask someone to recommend you, you send them a link of the program that you're applying to and just explain why you want to apply to that program. You can also let them know that they'll be asked to upload a letter, and this is the prompt that they'll receive. So it says, study abroad is often challenging and requires participants to be self-directed and solve problems. With that in mind, do you believe this person is prepared for study abroad? Please provide examples. Please indicate how you know them. And it lets them know that letters are typically like 1 page. And so once they say, yes, I'll provide that recommendation for you, you can put their name and email in the application. And then you need to keep track of if they've submitted or not, because once they submit, then you can submit your application to Fund for Education Abroad. So this can be a little intimidating for students, but I highly encourage you, if you are doing pretty well in someone's course, reach out to them. Let them know what you're trying to do. Let them know why you've asked them. You can say, you know, I've really enjoyed your course. I've learned so much. I was hoping that you could help me with this. And a lot of professors are happy to help students with this. So these are some screenshots from the organization's website, just showing where you begin your application. You click on their application portal, you'll create an account, then you'll create a profile to get started. Then after you do that, there's another Get Started button. So these are just some screenshots to help familiarize you. And as I was looking through the application, there was one question that stood out to me that I thought may be a little confusing for students. So I included it here. It asks, what's your anticipated study abroad program type? So a program provider, that's someone like CIEE, because they're a study abroad organization providing these programs. Direct enrollment is usually for spring or fall because you're directly going to the university. It may be facilitated by another college. So it may be, you may be going through Hunter College to do a full semester in Japan. But you're often going directly to the school. And university sponsored, this is a lot of the summer programs. So us, BMCC or Baruch or whoever it may be, we're organizing the study abroad program. So now, what are they looking for? The Fund for Education Abroad, they want to see how prepared you are for study abroad. They'll determine this by looking at your essays, transcripts, and letter of recommendation. They want to know if you're a student who typically wouldn't study abroad. So they have a lot of questions in the application about race, ethnicity, the level of education of your parents. This helps determine if you're a first-generation college student. So that will already be counted there, and they'll also see that you're a BMCC student, so you get, again, another point for being a community college student. But as I'll show in the following slides, if there's something about your identity that like really has influenced your decision to study abroad, you can also talk about it in the essay. And then they're going to look at financial need, and this is where the financial aid form comes into play. So you don't really need to talk more about financial need in the essays unless you have some extenuating circumstance. So if there was a job loss in your family due to COVID, if you're working to support your family while going to school, these are things that you could talk about, but otherwise they're assuming everyone applying has financial need. So the first essay is asking about your intended study abroad program. Why have you chosen the program? How do you think it'll help build on your previous experience and support your future goals? 750 words. The second essay, also 750 words, wants to know what qualities you have to be a good study abroad student. So they say, study abroad is often challenging, requiring participants to be open-minded and persevere in sometimes isolating circumstances. Please describe a personal experience in which you were similarly challenged to demonstrate these qualities. So essay 1. I recommend introducing yourself at the very beginning, just one quick line. Yes, they already have your name, they already know which school you go to, and they already know your major. But personally, when I read scholarship applications, I I like the reminder. My name is this is my school, this is my major. Here I go. I personally like it. And then talking about, why does study abroad excite you? Like, what got you interested in this in the first place? It's not going to be enough to say, oh, I find it interesting or exciting. You need to be specific so that you stand out amongst all the applications. So if there's someone specific that inspired you to go to a specific country or learn about a specific culture, you could even talk about a course that you've taken and how that made you want to study abroad. There's a lot of students who also study abroad to learn more about their own heritage. It's common that, you know, their parents may have been born in another country and they've never had the chance to go. So now they want to go to that country or somewhere similar, maybe to practice the same language, to learn more about themselves. That's a perfectly good reason too. And then, has your identity influenced your decision to going abroad? So this is kind of what I was saying before, that if your race, ethnicity, if you're LGBTQ, if you're a veteran, if you have a disability or anything else, if this has impacted your desire to really want to go explore somewhere else, then you can definitely write about it. And then you want to show that you have a really good plan for study abroad. So again, it's okay if you haven't committed to a specific program yet. Because their applications due in January, it's highly unlikely that you'll be able to say, yes, I'm definitely going at this point. So all you need to do is show that you've done the research and that you have a clear plan in place should you get the scholarship. So why did you choose this specific location? Why is the timing good? So why do you prefer a summer program, or why do you prefer a fall or a spring program? What do you like about the structure? So if you were choosing CIEE, you could say, I really want to study abroad with them because I see they offer X, Y, and Z. Or if it's a faculty-led program, which BMCC does in the summer, you could say, oh, I like the idea of traveling with a professor and a group of students. So just make sure that you show them that you know what the program is like that you're applying to. And then simply stating which courses that you want to take as part of the program, or which course. And so listing the course. If it counts for something, you can say it'll fulfill a requirement, but otherwise just saying why that interests you. And if it doesn't relate to your major, it honestly can be even better, because it's showing that you're willing to take the time and explore something outside of your requirements. So that can be good too. So either scenario is good. You just need to explain it to the reader. And then, how will study abroad help you with your future goals? So if you have an idea of which area you want to work in, you can talk about how study abroad may help you with that. You can talk about the type of skills you think you'll build with study abroad. So especially for the summer programs, which are shorter and very group intensive, you get a lot of team working, problem solving skills, and all programs, intercultural communication skills. So just thinking like, how will this study abroad program benefit me? And it could be the course content as well. It could be what you're learning in that specific program directly relates to what you want to work in, or your future career academic plans, or your personal plans. So now for the second essay. Are you ready to take on the study abroad challenge? So as a reminder, this is how they frame the prompt. Study abroad is often challenging, requiring participants to be open-minded and persevere in sometimes isolating circumstances. Please describe a personal experience in which you were similarly challenged to demonstrate these qualities. So this is an opportunity for you to really show who you are. You can pull an example from work, from school, a personal example. This is also a good chance, if you have any low grades on your transcript that have since improved, talk about why they were low. Were there extenuating circumstances? Were you working a lot to support your family or just support yourself? Were you learning English? If English, isn't your first language, did you have health issues? So you can talk about this. You can also note of the challenges that you're ready to take on, especially if this is your first time traveling outside the country or even the tri-state area or even New York. They love to see this because they really want to get people, again, who typically wouldn't study abroad. And also, if you have a major with really strict requirements, you can explain this as well and show them that despite this, you're still finding a way for study abroad to happen. And then you could also talk about if you have experienced any challenges related to your identity. So again, including race, ethnicity, religion's not in here, but that can definitely be one as well. If you're LGBTQ, veteran, if you have a disability, if you're a parent, if you're working to support your family, like I keep reiterating that one because I know they take that into consideration. So if any of this speaks to you, write about it, but definitely choose what's most true to you because that'll really come out in the essay and make for a really nice application. So that's the overview of Fund for Education Abroad. These are some general tips. First, you can apply for as many scholarships as you want, and if you happen to get more than one, you can use them. So this link right here will take you to the BMCC Study Abroad page, and specifically the scholarship page. I'm also hosting a Gilman Scholarship Workshop next week, December 15th and January 20th, and I'm hosting a Frederick Douglass Fellowship workshop on January 12th. If you can't make it, don't worry. Just reach out to me and we'll work on things individually. And then for everything, double check you're eligible before you do all the work. The eligibility requirements will vary by scholarship. Marking the deadlines in your calendar is super important. Taking note of anything extra that's required. So in this case, the financial aid form and the letter of recommendation, you want to ask people sooner than later to help you out with that so you can make sure you submit your application on time. I am happy to read a draft of your essays. I just ask that you send it to me no later than January 7th if you can. That'll give me time to hopefully provide you with some good feedback and for you to make revisions. And the sooner the better. If you want to send it to me next week, go right ahead. So I hope this was helpful and feel free to reach out to me with any questions.